Once upon a time, in a quiet valley surrounded by misty mountains, lived a young man named Aaron. He was only 24, yet his heart felt much older, burdened by a weight he couldn't name. Aaron's mind was never still. Thoughts rushed through him like restless winds, regrets from yesterday, worries about tomorrow. Even when surrounded by silence, his mind was a storm of noise. Even when wrapped in comfort, he felt deeply uneasy. Sleep became a distant memory, and smiles felt like a foreign language. Peace seemed like an impossible dream, a shore he could never reach. He was lost in the labyrinth of his own thoughts, with no map and no exit. He simply did not know how to stop his mind. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, Aaron heard whispers of a humble village hidden beyond the rolling hills. The stories spoke of an elderly man who lived there, a man who had once been a respected counselor in the bustling city but now lived a simple life, close to nature. People said he no longer chased success or recognition. Instead, he shared his wisdom with those who sought calm, a tiny seed of hope, long dormant, quietly awakened inside Aaron's tired heart. Maybe, he thought to himself, a flicker of light in his inner darkness. Maybe he can teach me how to rest my mind. And so, with this fragile hope as his guide, he began his journey. The path was long and arduous. For many exhausting days, Aaron walked, his feet sore and his body weary, but his spirit was driven by the promise of peace. Finally, he reached the village. It was just as the whispers had described, quaint, serene, and seemingly untouched by the hurried pace of the world. He found a small home, almost swallowed by nature, wrapped in lush vines and dotted with colorful flowers. On the simple wooden porch sat the old man, as still as an ancient statue, his eyes closed, his breathing soft and rhythmic, perfectly in sync with the gentle wind. Aaron approached with a reverence born from desperation. "Sir," he said, his voice quiet but clear, "my mind never rests. I carry storms inside me, day and night. Can you help me find peace?" The old man opened his eyes slowly. They were kind eyes, filled with a profound understanding that seemed to span lifetimes. A warm, gentle smile touched his lips. "If you truly want peace," he said, his voice calm and steady, "then walk with me." He led Aaron not to a grand hall or a library of scrolls, but to the simple courtyard behind his home. There, he took a glass and filled it completely to the brim with water, the surface tension holding the liquid in a perfect, precarious dome. "Take this glass," the old man instructed, his gaze unwavering. "Walk to the far end of the village and then return to me. But be careful not. A single drop must fall." Aaron was confused by the strange request, but his desire for peace outweighed his doubt. He was willing to try anything. He took the glass, his hands trembling slightly as he held it with the utmost care. He began to walk. The village road was alive with activity. Children's laughter echoed through the air. Merchants shouted, advertising their wares. The sound of footsteps on the dusty path created a constant rhythm. Birds chirped and flew overhead. A dog barked nearby, its call sharp and sudden. But Aaron noticed none of it. His entire world had shrunk to the size of that small glass. His eyes were fixed on the trembling surface of the water. Every pebble on the road, every slight incline, every gust of wind was a challenge to be met with absolute focus. Step by slow, deliberate step, breath by steady, conscious breath. He walked slowly, carefully, his mind and body completely united in a single purpose. He was no longer Aaron, the young man with a troubled mind. He was just a guardian of water, a protector of stillness. At last, after what felt like an eternity, he returned to the old man's courtyard. He held out the glass, his face glowing with a quiet triumph. "I did it," Aaron said, a sense of accomplishment in his voice. Not one drop spilled. The old man nodded kindly, his smile deepening. "Good. Very good. Now, tell me, did you see the children playing in the street?" Aaron paused, searching his memory, and then shook his head. "No." "Did you hear the birds singing in the trees?" the old man asked. Again, Aaron shook his head. "I saw only the water," he replied, a note of confusion creeping back into his voice. The old man's smile became a beacon of light. "That," he said gently, "is your answer." He took the glass from Aaron's hands. "When your mind stays completely in the present moment," the old man explained softly, "there is no room for fear of the future, no space for regret from the past, no weight of tomorrow's burdens. You are not thinking about yesterday's mistakes. You are not afraid of what might happen tomorrow. You were only here. Now, walking with this glass, your entire being was focused on this single, present task. In that focus, your worries disappeared. Not because they were solved, but because there was simply no room for them to exist." As the old man spoke, Aaron felt something gentle and profound open inside his chest, like a flower blooming after a long winter. It was a warmth, a lightness, a clarity he had never experienced before. For the first time in his life, he truly understood. Peace was never something to be found outside himself. It wasn't a destination to be reached or an object to be acquired. Peace was always waiting inside, patiently, within his own attention. Aaron lowered his head in a gesture of deep gratitude. "Now I know," he whispered, his voice filled with emotion. "To calm my mind, I must learn to live in this moment." As he spoke, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the valley. The sky transformed into a masterpiece of warm colors. The birds, which he hadn't noticed before, returned to their nests, their evening songs a gentle lullaby. Aaron walked back home along the same path he had traveled in turmoil. But he was no longer the same young man. His steps were lighter. His mind, once a raging sea, was now as calm and clear as a mountain lake at dawn. His heart was quieter, and for the very first time in as long as he could remember, he felt genuinely, deeply peaceful. The story of Aaron teaches us a timeless lesson. Sometimes, peace does not come by changing the world around us, by solving every problem, or by achieving every goal. It comes by changing where our mind chooses to stay. It comes from bringing our full attention to the here and now. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content on findinginner.com.